Welcome to this specialized module on AWS security for Cloudera data platform. Today, we are focusing entirely on the cryptographic backbone of your cloud security, AWS encryption keys. We will explore how CDP leverages the AWS Key Management Service, or KMS, to protect your data at rest across various services. Let's secure your environment. Let's start with what we are encrypting. When you deploy CDP on AWS, security is not optional. By default, Cloudera ensures that data at rest is encrypted using server-side encryption, or SSE. This encryption blanket covers the critical storage components of your infrastructure: the EBS volumes that act as root and data disks for your virtual machines, and the RDS instances that store metadata for Hive and Ranger. To manage the keys necessary for this encryption, CDP integrates directly with the AWS Key Management Service, commonly known as KMS. This ensures that your data is protected by industry-standard envelope encryption from the moment resources are provisioned. Visualize the flow of protection. The CDP control plane initiates the provisioning of resources. These include EBS volumes for compute, RDS databases for metadata, and S3 buckets for object storage. Watching over all of these is AWS KMS, represented by the orange box. KMS automatically applies encryption keys to these storage layers, ensuring that even at rest, your data remains opaque and secure. Now, why would you change the default? By default, AWS manages the keys for you. These are platform-managed keys. However, for strict compliance, you should use Customer-Managed Keys, or CMK. With a CMK, you are the owner. You control the key policy, you decide when to rotate the key, and crucially, you can disable the key to immediately revoke access to your data. This level of control is often a requirement for regulated industries handling sensitive data. This decision tree guides your encryption strategy. If your compliance needs are standard, the default AWS keys path is sufficient and managed entirely by AWS. However, if you answer yes to strict compliance, you move to the Customer-Managed Key path. This grants you the CMK object, giving you direct control over rotation and policy, placing the security reins firmly in your hands. Let's discuss how to set this up. Simply creating a key isn't enough. You must authorize CDP to use it. This involves a two-way handshake. First, your cross-account IAM role. The one CDP assumes must have specific KMS permissions added to its policy. Specifically, it needs KMS, decrypt, KMS, encrypt, and KMS, generate data key to handle data, and KMS, describe key to validate the key exists. Second, the key policy on the CMK itself must explicitly list your cross-account IAM role as a permitted principal, otherwise AWS will block the access. This sequence diagram illustrates the permission handshake. The CDP cross-account role initiates a request, such as generate data key, to the AWS KMS CMK. The system performs two checks. First, does the key policy allow this specific role? Second, does the role's IAM policy allow this specific action? Only when both checks pass does KMS return the encrypted data key, allowing the storage resource to be secured. Where is this encryption applied? You define encryption at two scopes. First is the environment level. When you register an environment and select a CMK, that key is immediately used for the data lake, free IPA nodes, and the shared RDS instance. Second is the data hub level. By default, any data hub you create will inherit the environment's key. However, flexibility is built in. You can override this and assign a specific different CMK to a data hub if that cluster handles data with different security classification requirements. Here we see the hierarchy of encryption. The environment CMK at the top flows down to secure the core services, data lake, free IPA, and shared RDS. Data hub A on the left automatically inherits this key. However, data hub B on the right breaks this inheritance. It uses specific CMKB, illustrating how you can segment encryption domains for different workloads within the same environment. Object storage in S3 has its own nuances. You generally choose between SSE S3 and SSE KMS. SSE S3 uses keys managed entirely by S3. It's simple and transparent. SSE KMS, however, uses KMS keys either AWS managed or your CMK. The major advantage of SSE KMS is the audit trail. CloudTrail logs every time a key is used to decrypt an object, providing visibility into data access. Remember, if you use SSE KMS, any IAM role trying to read that data, like your data lake admin role, must explicitly have KMS, decrypt permission for that specific key. This diagram details the S3 encryption paths. Data entering the S3 bucket splits based on encryption type. The SSE S3 path uses S3 managed keys and ends there. The SSE KMS path is more robust. It utilizes a KMS key, which triggers two downstream effects. It generates an audit trail via CloudTrail for compliance, and it enforces a strict requirement for KMS, decrypt permissions on any accessing role. For the highest level of security, typically required by government or financial institutions, you can use AWS Cloud HSM. This provides a single-tenant hardware security module dedicated to you, rather than the multi-tenant KMS. Cloudera supports encrypting Data Hub EBS volumes using a CMK generated from a custom key store backed by Cloud HSM. This allows you to meet FIPS 140-2 Level 3 compliance requirements while still using the standard KMS API for integration. This flow shows the hardware-backed security chain. It starts with the Cloud HSM cluster, a dedicated hardware appliance. This cluster backs a custom key store within AWS. This store generates a CMK in KMS. Finally, that hardware-backed CMK is used to encrypt the Data Hub EBS volumes, ensuring the key material never leaves the dedicated hardware module. To wrap up, let's cover critical constraints and best practices. First, Cloudera strictly supports only single-region KMS keys. Attempting to use multi-region keys will result in deployment errors. Ensure your key exists in the exact same region as your environment. Second, always enable automatic key rotation in AWS KMS. This rotates the backing key material every year without changing the key ID, maintaining compliance without breaking your Cloudera configuration. Use this checklist for your final review. First, check the key region. If it matches the environment, it is valid. If it is a multi-region key, it will error. Next, check rotation. Manual rotation creates high overhead and risk. Automatic rotation is flagged here as the best practice, ensuring long-term security with minimal maintenance.